The Blind Watchmaker by Richard Dawkins, published in 1986, is a landmark book that explores the theory of evolution through natural selection, arguing against the idea that complex life requires a designer. Dawkins aims to demonstrate how natural processes can lead to the appearance of design, without the need for an intelligent creator, countering the argument put forth by proponents of creationism and intelligent design. The title itself is a response to the watchmaker analogy by William Paley, who suggested that just as a watch requires a watchmaker, so too must living organisms be designed by a creator. Dawkins seeks to show that evolution, the blind watchmaker, can account for the complexity and diversity of life. At the heart of Dawkins' argument is the concept of natural selection as a non-random process that shapes organisms over time. Although mutations occur randomly, natural selection is a process that consistently favors traits that enhance survival and reproduction. Dawkins likens this to a sculptor gradually chiseling away at a block of marble to reveal a finished statue. The process is cumulative, with small incremental changes building upon one another over vast periods of time. This cumulative nature of evolution, Dawkins argues, makes the development of complex structures, like the eye or the wing, not only possible, but inevitable under the right conditions. One of the major misconceptions that Dawkins addresses is the idea that evolution must be a random process, which critics often use to argue that it cannot produce the intricate complexity we see in living organisms. Dawkins emphasizes that while mutations may be random, natural selection is anything but random. It is a process that systematically favors advantageous traits, leading to the gradual accumulation of complexity. He uses the analogy of a monkey randomly typing on a typewriter to explain this. While the chance of a monkey typing out a coherent sentence by randomly pressing keys is extremely low, if the process is cumulative, with correct letters preserved and only the remaining letters changed, the likelihood of producing a sentence increases dramatically. In this way, evolution can build complexity over time through small, preserved changes. Dawkins also tackles the concept of designoid structures, objects in nature that appear to be designed, but are actually the result of evolutionary processes. He compares the appearance of design in nature to that of human-made objects, showing that just because something looks designed does not mean it was created by a conscious entity. For instance, a spider's web or a bird's nest may seem purposefully crafted, but they are simply the products of natural selection. Over generations, behaviors and physical adaptations that enhance survival become more common, creating structures that seem finely tuned, but are in fact the result of trial and error over time. One of the most famous examples Dawkins uses in the book is the evolution of the eye, a structure often cited by creationists as being too complex to have evolved through natural selection. Dawkins explains that the eye could have evolved gradually from a simple light-sensitive patch to the sophisticated organ we see in many animals today. Each intermediate stage, while less perfect than a fully formed eye, would still have provided a survival advantage to the organism possessing it. This cumulative process, driven by natural selection, explains how something as intricate as the eye could evolve without the need for an intelligent designer. Dawkins also addresses the role of genetic information in evolution, explaining how genes carry the instructions for building and maintaining organisms. He introduces the concept of selfish genes, a theme he had previously explored in his earlier book, The Selfish Gene. According to this idea, genes are the fundamental units of selection, with organisms acting as vehicles for their propagation. Genes that are successful in getting replicated are passed on to the next generation, while those that are less successful are weeded out by natural selection. Over time, this process leads to the evolution of traits that promote the survival and reproduction of the organism, even if the traits themselves may seem complex or improbable at first glance. Throughout the book, Dawkins uses computer simulations and models to illustrate how simple rules can lead to the emergence of complex patterns. One such example is the biomorph program, which simulates the evolution of simple shapes through random mutations and selection. By adjusting the parameters of the simulation, Dawkins shows how small incremental changes can lead to increasingly complex forms, demonstrating the power of cumulative selection in evolution. This reinforces his argument that complexity does not require an intelligent designer, but can emerge through natural processes over time. Dawkins also critiques the notion of irreducible complexity, a concept popularized by intelligent design proponents, who argue that certain biological structures are too complex to have evolved because they would not function if any part were removed. He counters this by showing that what may appear irreducibly complex at first glance can often be broken down into simpler, functional components that could have evolved gradually. For example, the bacterial flagellum, often cited as an example of irreducible complexity, can be explained as the result of the gradual evolution of simpler structures, each providing some benefit to the organism at different stages of development. In addition to debunking creationist arguments, Dawkins addresses the philosophical implications of evolution by natural selection. He argues that the idea of a blind watchmaker does not diminish the awe and wonder we feel when observing the natural world. On the contrary, understanding how natural processes can give rise to the complexity and beauty of life enhances our appreciation of the world around us. Dawkins believes that the evolutionary perspective offers a deeper understanding of life's origins and our place in the universe, without the need for supernatural explanations. Another key theme of The Blind Watchmaker is the role of adaptation in shaping the diversity of life. Dawkins explores how organisms are finely tuned to their environments through the process of natural selection. He describes how even small changes in an organism's environment can lead to significant evolutionary adaptations over time, highlighting the dynamic and responsive nature of evolution. This adaptability is a key reason why life on Earth is so diverse, and why organisms are so well suited to their ecological niches. Dawkins also touches on the limits of adaptation, acknowledging that not every feature of an organism is the result of optimal design. Some traits are simply the byproducts of evolutionary history, remnants of an organism's ancestral past, that may no longer serve a clear purpose. These vestigial structures, like the human appendix, or the wings of flightless birds, provide further evidence that evolution is not a process of perfect design, but one of tinkering and modification over time.